Greetings, friends. I welcome you to join our new Torah Hebrew Immersion series. Immerse in Torah and Hebrew. Learn while working in the text. Discover a new reality. Learn biblical Hebrew and learn Torah structure. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, 1, 2, 3. We shall be guided by the numerical structure of the Torah. Come and learn at your own pace. Language immersion. Learning a second language is an unnatural experience unless one's environment is multilingual by nature or necessity. This is one of a series of lessons that are designed to permit the learner to be simultaneously immersed in Torah and Hebrew. The lessons are aimed at removing the frustration of having to learn Hebrew before learning the Torah text. If our mission is successful, one will have difficulty differentiating whether he is learning Hebrew or Torah. Understanding our perspective of Torah and Hebrew immersion. One, the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, is not only the primary source of instruction, it is a divine source of instruction. The Torah is written in the Hebrew language. The Torah has both a numerical structure and linguistic embellishments. The Torah is where one encounters the Creator, and to ignore either the language, structure, or embellishments automatically limits one's encounter with the Creator. Again, understanding our perspective of Torah and Hebrew immersion. Please enter the conversation as a family member. You are seated at the family table, and notebooks are not required here. That's part of the immersion. You don't have to take notes. You just get involved in the conversation. You didn't take notes when you were a youngster, a toddler learning to say mama, dada, and so on and so forth. You didn't take notes. You just listened to the conversation. You picked up what you could, and you grew naturally. And we have tried to recreate that natural type of setting for learning Hebrew and Torah. Try to understand and interact with what you can at the moment. Don't worry about something you've missed. Don't worry about what's down the line. Just as a young child, just sit there and take in what you can and understand what you can and be happy with your family and fellowship. Don't be afraid to ask questions. But remember that only the text can provide absolute answers. So you must question the text. While the conversation may be ongoing, it continually cycles and recycles important information in multiple settings. You can pause, rewind, and review the conversation as you wish, but that may not be necessary because these things that we're talking about at this moment will come up again in different venues and from different perspectives. So don't let that bother you, but go ahead and do it if you want to, but it's not something that you need to do. This is a family discussion. All human beings have one spiritual father, so everyone belongs at the table. Our goal is sincere family fellowship involved in divine Torah conversation, and not the arrogance of mixed knowledgeability. We're studying Torah. And I know this may seem difficult, but we're only going to study Torah with Torah. We're not going to be looking at other sources, such as the Talmud or other Jewish writings. We're not going to be looking at the New Testament or other Christian writings. We're not going to be looking at the Quran or other Quranic writings. Mixed knowledgeability can be beneficial, but it can be detrimental. That was the problem that Adam was faced with when he was warned that death would occur if he partook of the tree of mixed knowledge. And he did so. And that recipe of mixed knowledge has been passed on to all of us, and now we have to sort our way through it. That was not God's divine plan. The other tree that stood beside it was the tree of life. It produced only one product. The fruit of the tree of life produced eternal life. Therefore, we're going to restrict or really seriously limit any outside sources at all. There are times that we may get stuck and have to have some help, but we only go there as a last resort. This is lesson 2. The foundational meaning of Beit is inside. This is a big issue. This is the foundational concept of the Torah. I cannot express to you how important this is. And it is not the very first verse of the Torah is rarely ever translated properly. And what we need to know is, what did the author mean about the way he used things. We want to understand the words according to our knowledge. An example is that the common usage today is to associate Beit with house, tent, or dwelling, and that is what I would call close. Close works in the game of horseshoes, but in other things that may not be the case. And in the case of the Torah, close doesn't count. We need to know exactly what the author of the Torah had in mind when he used that first consonant to put on the page. And that first consonant is Beit. And Beit means inside, and we're going to make a good case to prove that. As I said, it's going to be according to the Torah. It's not going to be according to other sources. From the rock-solid numerical structure of the Torah. Presented by me, Philip E. Stiefel. Avi Publications, avipublications.com, and YouTube channel Torah 123. What on earth is the rock-solid numerical structure of the Torah? 10 foundational principles that form the structure of the Torah and possibly the whole of creation. The numerical structure of the Torah is the foundation upon which all our teachings rest. When I say our teachings, I'm talking about the teachings of Avi Publications and Torah 123. The numerical structure of the Torah. In other words, structure and foliage, numerals and letters, embedded and apparent. Oh wow, the structure must have preceded the leaves. Imagine that. The structure preceded the leaves. The hidden numerical structure of the Torah. Perhaps if you look at the tree above, you can see that the structure is visible in this tree. Some trees you can see the structure when it's full of foliage, and other trees have thicker foliage and you can't see it. So when we talk about hidden, that's the way it's hidden. You don't need to be a mystic to find it out. It's there if you observe it, if you focus on it. Remember that those leaves, which are so gorgeous at different times of the year, all started from the structure. I know you hear this over and over again, the numerical structure of the Torah, and I don't mean to be redundant, but this is not a term that is discussed a whole lot in the world today, in the religious world, of course, and in the world of Torah even, because something like this has really only been available to us because we have the tools or the means to do it. It's not that it was not possible before, but having the tools such as modern day computers has brought this to light. So there are 10 principles. The word principles is not probably the best word, but principles are something that don't change. They stay, and that's why that I use that word to describe it. But they're not going to be principles such as I don't know, say the laws of gravity, that you know that gravity works a certain way. This is not that type of principle. Perhaps another way that you could look at this is as 10 patterns of thought that weave the fabric of the Torah. So the principles are probably patterns of thought. Principle number 1, the Creator is the foundation of every created thing. Actually, there's nothing beside the Creator. Everything is created. He's the only thing that isn't created. So he is the foundation of every created thing, whether it be a thought or something tangible. He's the creator of all. That's our foundation. Principle 2, division, separation, or two aspects of a matter. Principle 3, an encounter with the Creator. Principle 4, action on the part of God or man. Principle 5, honor creators. Long life. Principle 6, mankind or human nature. Principle 7, completion, cycle or cycle of repeated events. Principle number 8, an exchange, good or bad. Principle 9, a good matter functioning according to the divine plan. Principle 10, a command, a covenant, or a test of a covenant. A special word of thanks to the tool makers. Without the capabilities of the Bible Scholar software, none of this research concerning the numerical structure of the Torah would have been within my grasp. You can examine and purchase Bible Scholar software at this web address. All Hebrew consonant, syllable, and word searches. All punctuation and vowel pointing. All Hebrew to English translations and quotations. All the above tasks were performed with the Bible Scholar software. Microsoft PowerPoint provided a creative platform to pictorially present the truths of the numerical structure of the Torah. Please note that I do not receive any compensation from the Bible Scholar software. All quotations from the Hebrew Bible are from the Bible Scholar software unless otherwise designated. Permission to use these quotations has not been requested since they are used according to the purpose and design of the software in an academic venue. As a scholar researching the numerical structure, one would have to seek daily permission to publish each aspect of research. That is how reliant I am upon this software. The multitude of unique searches required to demonstrate the existence and validity of the underlying numerical structure could not be efficiently accomplished without a computer, the Bible Scholar search engine, and its accompanying translation. I want you to be enlightened as we take our walk through this discussion. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Don't allow yourself to get bogged down with having to understand everything. As I said, it will come again and again. Dear friends, this is Herbie, my primary student. He is my inner self who, like an inquisitive child, asks many questions out of love and respect. He persists until he gets a suitable answer. Over the years, his questions have become more challenging and his persistence is often unyielding. His quest for Torah knowledge began by observing and listening. Please, Learn as you go and at your own pace. Casually enjoy the sights and make your own connections along the way. Pause the video anytime you wish. Please do not pressure yourself to retain all that you have encountered. The Torah, by nature, is repetitive. Scientists probe the depths of the universe with a telescope for observation and numbers for the calculation of its hidden secrets. Is the Torah any less of a creation than the universe? Why did the Creator begin the Torah with a Beit? And there is a Beit, that's the Hebrew letter Beit. Please notice that it has a dagesh or a dot in the midst of it. And there you see is the first word of the Torah, Bereshit, and of course in the focal point is the letter Beit that you see above. What is so special about Beit? We start counting numbers with 1. So why does the Torah begin with 2? 2? Yes, the consonant Beit is also the number 2. Well, Herbie Beit is a special consonant that has 2 sounds and 2 meanings. Whoa. 2 sounds, 2 meanings. It is the number 2. That's interesting. It is a BGDKPT consonant. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate on this at the moment, but there are 6 of these consonants, special consonants, that have 2 sounds. So Beit is the first of the BGDKPT consonants. The Torah begins with Beit because the Creator designed it so for our benefit. The Torah begins with 2 so that we may understand how the Creator works inside creation. Do you want to know what Beit means in a hurry? Hop in. I've got a fast vehicle to get you there. And I know the quickest way to get there. What more could you ask for? Hold on. Here we go. The good folks at Wikipedia.org have assembled a collection of thoughts to help us understand the collective meaning of the Semitic letter Beit. Bet, the letter. And you can check this full article out at this address. Beit, Beth, Bet, or Vet is the second letter of the Semitic abjads, including the Phoenician Beit, Hebrew Bet, Aramaic Beth, Syriac Bet, and Arabic Ba. Its sound value is a voiced bilabial stop, B, or a voice labiodental fricative, V. The letter's name means house in various Semitic languages. Arabic Bait, Akkadian Bitu, Betu, Hebrew Bait, Phoenician Bet, etc., ultimately all from the Proto-Semitic Bait, and appears to derive from an Egyptian hieroglyph of a house by acrophony. Well, be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Oh, what's this? Paleo-Hebrew characters. Oh. And you can actually check this chart out at this address, theancienthebrew.org. The chart at the right depicts the evolution of the Paleo-Hebrew characters over time. So you can see they began, if you look at the top of the chart, the early, then the middle, then the late. They are graphic representations of consonants. That's what a written letter is. It's a graphic representation of a consonant. Their meaning has been derived from the pictorial representations. Now what that means is if you look at the top of the chart here, and that is really about the letter Aleph, the top line of the chart, and you'll see an ox's head, and then you see how it kind of changed, and then you see there how it changed. And so what they're saying is that the meaning is derived from the pictorial representation. So if that were true, Aleph is going to be related to an ox's head. Note their reflection on the meaning of Beit. Now that's going to be the second line right there. Okay. And they're saying that it started out looking like one thing and changes to another and to another. And it represents the picture a tent floor plan, and then it represents meaning a family, house, or inn. So there we have it from the graphic depictions. That's the definition that kind of most people are going with today. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. But I must caution you that what we have been looking at between the last article with Wikipedia and this here, we are not necessarily looking at the Torah. We're looking at letters. Doesn't really say how the author used the consonants in the Torah. It's just showing they've developed their meaning from the way they were depicted. So what I would call this is a man-centered derivation of meaning. Could be good, could be bad. To really understand what Beit means, we really need to understand how the author of the Torah used the consonant Beit and the other consonants as well in the Torah. when speed isn't the big picture. In other words, we got that meaning pretty quick. We just go to Wikipedia and bang, we understand what bait means. Or we go to the paleo characters or whatever, and bang, we've got what it means. We got the big picture real fast because we wanted it fast. Two ways to travel. Look at that. Vroom or bumpity bumpity bump. Perhaps we should view bait from another perspective. While all those insights are informative, for the most part, they are all from man's perspective over a long period of time. How did the author of the Torah, the Creator, use the consonant beit? If 3 is related to a divine encounter, then a divine encounter should involve 3. 1. Find the first occurrence of the consonant in the Torah. 2. Find the first occurrence of the consonant beginning a word in the Torah. 3. Find the first occurrence of the consonant name in the Torah. This method of investigation examines 3 first of occurrences regarding how the author of the Torah perceived and used each consonant. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving forward toward the light of the Creator. Step 1. The first occurrence of beit in the Torah. Well, we know that. We've already been, well, but there it is, okay? We've gone over this time and time again. There in red is the first beit, and the first word is bereshit. Bereshit. Inside, first of. Bereshit, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Bereshit, God created the heavens and the earth. The Hebrew Reshit occurs 17 times in the Torah. In another series, we're going to investigate those 17 times. The literal usage of Reshit is always the first of something that is tangible or concrete in nature. Reshit is improperly associated with time in this translation. In other words, it's saying in the beginning. Beginning is related to time. Reshit has been taken out of the author's context and loosely applied in thought and translation. And we will prove this, okay? Sadly, I don't really know why this occurs, but I spent most of my working life in a contracting business as a builder, and I recognize that most serious flaws involve the foundation of something, and they cannot really be repaired. Everything that's built upon the foundation, if it's poor, will reflect the defect. And it's a bad thing to get off to such a bad start of understanding the Torah. And that, I believe, even goes back to those who research it in the original language. Because if it wasn't so, we would have a different translation, a more literal translation. Beit means inside, and step 3 will validate its meaning. Right now we're on step 1, so step 3 is going to really drive the nail home. The meaning of Reshit has been thoroughly expounded upon previously in this series and in a separate series. Bear in mind that it is difficult to get inside of time, but it is not difficult to get inside the first of a concrete entity. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. The first investigative method of Beit forms the foundation of its meaning. Beit is a prefix to a word. Therefore, a proper understanding of the word is imperative in relation to its prefix. So in other words, Beit is attached to the word Reshit. If Beit is assumed to mean in, and it is prefixed to a word which is proven to mean first of, then the translation in first of should make sense. But it doesn't. The contextual translation inside first of makes sense literally. Now, this word contextual, you need to understand what I mean by that. Contextual means usage within the author's text itself. One of the gravest dangers we all face in everything is taking things out of context. Those who are experts in argument and who care little for truth use this as a damaging tool. But if you want to know truth, you must stay true to the context with which a matter is born in. In life, most serious errors usually occur from the outset or at the foundation upon which we fabricate our understanding. While this contextual inference may initially appear to be challenging, please be patient. The reward of divine understanding awaits your arrival. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. This second investigative method of Beit relates to division, separation, or two aspects of a matter. This is our second numerical principle and our second method. There are two aspects of the whole of creation, the heavens and the earth. The entity of the heavens was divided or separated by the firmament. You can find that in Bereshit 1:6-8. The creative acts listed in Genesis 1 from verse 2 on are concerned with the surface of the earth and the firmament below the heavens. Okay? They're not concerned with the far heavens, the far waters. The actions concerning the creation of the heavens are a separate and undiscussed matter. We're not told much about how the heavens were created. We're really told a lot about how the earth was created, but it doesn't mean that it means how it was created within its environs. It existed in the heavens already. So what I'm saying is that what we know of the 6 creative days are all concerned with planet Earth and its environs, not concerned with the heavens beyond the firmament. First verse of the Torah is a summary of the whole of creation. So it stands distinct of the other verses. It does not describe the when of the matter of creation. It describes the how of the matter of creation. Let's say that again. It does not describe the when of the matter of creation. It describes the how of the matter of creation. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Step 3. The first occurrence of the consonant Beit in a word. Mi Bait. Mi Bait. The consonant name is right there in red. Those 3 letters form the consonant name. Mi is prefixed to that. So from, bite, inside. Wait a minute. Remember when we were on the fast track? It was related to a house, and then the paleo letters took it to a tent. But here, the consonant name, the first place this consonant name is found in the Torah, it relates to inside. Now there seems to be a bit of a conflict. As I said, this can be close, and that's fine if you're playing horseshoes, but we're talking about the Torah. Bereshit, Genesis 6:14. Make an ark of gopher wood. Runge, shall you make in the ark, and shall pitch it inside Beit and outside with pitch. Now, if you've watched the previous video, I believe I told you that there was a connection with Noah. And here's the connection. If you happen to catch it, if you didn't, catch it now. The word Beit literally means from inside, as compared with umchutz, literally and from outside. The word Beit is primarily associated with the result of division or separation, which the entity of the ark creates by its existence. In other words, the ark is a vessel, all right, and the construction of the ark separates it from the water outside and the life, animal life, inside. And the Creator has commanded Noah to build this vessel, and he says when you get it built, you're going to pitch it, means cover it with a tar-like coating inside, and then coat it with a tar-like coating outside. Wow. Beit in this case is an internal presence or space within a created entity, which is referred to as inside. Isn't that amazing? Coincidental? Perhaps. Hardly. The creator, the author of the Torah, has demonstrated his perspective by his usage. Now we've examined 3 ways of looking at this, and they don't really fit just the word in. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. This third investigative method of Beit relates to an encounter with the Creator. Whoa. There is a definite encounter with the Creator involved in this vessel of knowledge. That encounter is a divine command or instruction. We encounter the Creator around divine commands and instructions. This is how important commands and instructions are. If you reject them, you're rejecting the encounter with the Creator. Noah heard and understood the specificity of this divine command. Notwithstanding, there are 3 commands involved in this vessel. 1, make an ark. 2, make rooms. 3, pitch it inside and outside. Wow. 3, an encounter with the Creator. 3 relates to an encounter with the Creator. We're going to find these patterns throughout the whole of the Torah. It's embedded in almost every aspect. I I wish I could just thoroughly convey this to you, but I know how I had to learn it, and I am overwhelmed, amazed, and excited. This might just be a coincidence. If you are tempted to assume that this is all coincidental, bear in mind this process of investigation repeats itself repeatedly with accurate results. What we're doing with this, with the consonant bait, I have done with every consonant. This type of investigation works with syllables. It works with words. It is a woven pattern throughout the Torah. Now, how a collective group of men over a long period of time could assemble such a document is far beyond the capability of my mind to understand. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Wow, we never did encounter a house or a tent like the textbooks infer. Why? Because the textbooks have a larger context than just the Torah. What we have been looking at is the Creator's perspective from his context, the Torah. Oh, me and me? Oh no, what's my counterpart doing here? Hey, wait a minute. What about the flip side of the investigation? How did the Creator use the consonant Veit? There's always a challenger. Let's put Veit to the same type of investigation. Beit not equals or equals Veit. All right, step one, the first occurrence of Veit in the Torah. There you have it. Va, vo, hu. The vo is a Veit, and notice it does not have the gesh or a dot internally in the consonant. So that's the first occurrence of the counterpart. And as we talked about earlier, this is a BGDKPT letter, and over the years and the many discussions that I've participated in concerning Hebrew and the BGDKPT letters, I've never really encountered any teaching that reflects a different meaning between the two. So perhaps it does exist. I have never come across it. So va means end. That's a conjunction, end. Vohu means empty. Now remember, we found that the consonant Beit was basically talking about inside, and inside meaning that something was inside. Particularly the last thing we ended up with was the ark, and the ark was meant to have people inside. The tent, the house, are all meant to have something inside. But in this particular case here, the Veit is reflecting something that is empty. Bereshit 1:2, and the earth was without form and void, Vavohu, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and a wind from God moved upon the face of the waters. A common synonym for void is an empty space. This word vohu is only found this one time in the Torah. The three consonants which make up this word, Veit, He, and Vav, beginning with the Veit, are only found one other time in the Torah, and that is in Devarim, or Deuteronomy 32:13. There's that verse, he made him ride. And you can see the Vet, the He, and the Vav in red. Okay, same word found within those same consonants found within this word. He made him ride on the high places of the earth. And he ate of the produce of the fields, and he made him suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. But notice that the riding is not inside, it's over. The three consonants are found elsewhere 5 times beginning with Beit, and they are related to bringing out or birthing. So the concept is something outside, over, or around. It's peripheral. The Creator is operating outside the empty space. The life force is outside of the entity. However, with the Beit, the life force is within the entity. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. This first investigative method of Veit forms the foundation of its meaning. First occurrence of the consonant. In its first occurrence, Veit is not a prefix to a word. Veit is the first letter of the word vohu, which is only found once in the Torah. Veit is first used in a word to define the emptiness of the earth. In its empty condition, what specifically did the earth not contain? Let's think of that question again here. In its empty condition, in other words, the earth was without form and void, empty. What specifically did the earth not contain? Beit is the first letter of a word that is used only once in the Torah. Why? The answer may lie in the question, what is missing that makes the earth void and empty? All the elements or materials are on site. However, the Creator had not begun his work within planet Earth. It is the presence of divine wind, speech, and light which fills the void. I want to read that again. It is the presence of divine wind, speech, and light which fills the void. This light should not be confused with the light from the sun, which did not arrive on the scene until the fourth day of creation. This light is the light of his presence. With three actions, his wind blowing, his speech, and his light, the Creator encountered the earth. Wow. Without the Creator, the world would become void again. Without the Creator, the world would become void again. The Creator. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Step 2. The first occurrence of Veit in the beginning of a word. Vid got. Vid got. You see the Veit in red, and it is in the beginning of a word. Over, fishes. Bereshit 1:26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over fish. Vidgat, of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. This is the first of 5 occurrences of the prefix Veit in this vessel of knowledge. So everywhere you see the word over highlighted in green, that is the prefix Veit. 5. None of the 5 entities contain the breath of the Creator as contained within man. Got that? Presence. Remember? None of these 5 entities are made in the image and likeness of the Creator. They are all void of the image and likeness of the Creator. 5 is related to honor and respect for parents, creators, and a long life. The 5 entities over which man has dominion are fishes, birds, cattle, the earth, and every creeping thing. 1. Fishes are below the surface of the earth. Birds are above the surface of the earth. Cattle are on the surface of the earth. The whole earth is their container. Creeping, moving things that creep, that move upon the earth. Man's dominion is related to parental respect. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving towards the light of the Creator. Step 2A, the first occurrence of Veit in the beginning of a word. Vid, got, over, fishes. Bereshit 1:26, as we discussed, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. Only man can perpetuate the image of the Creator. Bereshit 5:3, and Adam lived 130 years and fathered a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. What about Cain? He would not listen to the instructions of the Creator. What about Abel? He is dead and unable to perpetuate the image of Adam, the image of the Creator. The Creator, our primary parent, provided another seed to Adam and Eve. You can find that in Bereshit chapter 4, verse 25. Seth was able to perpetuate the image and likeness of his father. The image of the Creator is not biological. If so, Cain could have perpetuated the image. If the image is not biological, then what is it? Is there a connection between encountering the light of creation and the image of the Creator? Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. This second investigative method of Veit relates to division, separation, or two aspects of a matter, which of course is the second numerical principle. The purpose of man is to have the image of the Creator inside of him. The entities which man is to have dominion over do not have the image of the Creator inside of them. Two spatial aspects are involved. 1, the image inside, and 2, man ruling over 5 entities, or from the outside. The key element in this vessel is the dominion, which man is supposed to exercise over these 5 entities. Dominion is related to the regulative overseeing, such as when the Creator came down to see the city and Tower of Babel in Bereshit 11:5. The man who has the image of God inside is purposed to oversee those entities which do not have the image of God within them. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Step 3. The first occurrence of the constant name Veit in a word. Now remember, we did this with Beit, and we found out it truly means inside. Wonder what this is going to reveal. Le Veit El. Le Veit El. Of, to, the house of God. Wow. Bereshit 12:8. And he moved from there to the mountain in the east of Beit, or Beit El, Le Beit El, and pitched his tent, having Beit El on the west and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. Here the word Veit is used for a place, since there was no edifice erected for the worship of the Creator. Veit in this case is not a defined space having an inside or outside. It is an empty space. In the Torah, when something is referred to as east or eastward, it means away from the presence of the Creator. The garden was eastward in Eden, away from the presence of the Creator. Adam was driven eastward out of the garden. Cain was banished further eastward, completely from the presence of the Creator. The principle of eastward movement continues throughout the Torah. Why didn't Abram camp at Bethel? Well, Herbie, living in the presence of the Creator is not a casual matter. Bethel is a place and not an edifice. Bereshit 35:7. What is important to note is that Abram chose to live in close proximity to the place of Bethel. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. This third investigative method of Veit relates to an encounter with the Creator. The previous verse, Bereshit 12:7, says the Lord appeared to Abram. That definitely relates to an encounter with the Creator. Prior to this experience, the text only mentions Abram hearing the voice of the Creator. Abram had entered the land of Canaan, and the Canaanite was there. Bereshit 12:6. He was a stranger in a foreign land, yet the Creator made his presence known unto Abram. Is it possible that this is all also a coincidence? If you are tempted to assume that this is all coincidental, bear in mind this process of investigation repeats itself with accurate consistency wherever it is applied in the Torah. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. The good folks at Wikipedia.org have assembled a collection of thoughts to help us understand the existence of the BGDKPT letters. Now, we've only been talking about one of them. There are 6, and this first one is Beit, has a sound B, and Veit, same consonant, has a sound V. So there are 6 of these consonants that have 2 sounds and are internally marked with a dagesh. BGDKPT. And you can examine this article further at this address. BGDKPT, also BGDKPT, is the name given to a phenomenon of lenition affecting the non-emphatic stop consonants of Biblical Hebrew and Aramaic when they are preceded by a vowel and not germinated. Now, just what this is saying is that they're attributing this phenomena to the mechanics of being phonetically able to smoothly say something, so they change these sounds from one sound to the other. The name of the phenomena is made up with these 6 consonants mixed with, get that word, haphazard vowels for the sake of pronunciation. Now, I'm not criticizing Wikipedia at all. Wikipedia is just gathering knowledge that others are going by. Okay? This is where they're coming from. BGDKPT spirantization developed sometime during the lifetime of Biblical Hebrew under the influence of Aramaic. That's interesting. Its time of emergence can be found by noting that old Aramaic phonemes disappeared in the 7th century BC. It persisted in Hebrew until the 2nd century CE. During this period, all 6 plosive fricative pairs were allophonic. That all sounds technically appealing. However, if the BGDKPT Immersion is related to the 7th century BCE, how does that relate to the Torah, which was composed shortly after the Exodus event circa the 12th to the 15th centuries BCE, depending upon various dating theories? Concepts such as a phenomenon of lenition or a haphazard mixing of vowels for the sake of pronunciation do not reflect a divine author, nor do they reflect the context of the Torah. They do not reflect a divine author, nor do they reflect the context of the Torah. Wow. Wikipedia reflects most current scholarship, and we must thank them for their service. Yes, this is not a criticism of them, but it's to show you that what you're seeing is how the author used the text and the consonants, and they're showing you man's perspective. There's a vast difference of opinion. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Now, I want you to notice there is a fragment of a very ancient text. And you can view this at this site here. The text at the left is from the Qumran community, which existed prior to the commencement of the first millennia of the Common Era. So we are looking roughly a little over 2,000 years old that this text is here, this fragment of a scroll. The Torah scroll, authored by the Creator and written by Moses, and the Torah scroll was authored by the Creator and written by Moses and could be 12 to 1400 years older than this fragment. So we're going back much, much farther. Much, much farther. Notice that there are no vowel points. So there's no way to know a Beit from a Veit. We only know how to pronounce the Hebrew words because of the faithful transmission of those sounds by the scribes of ancient and modern Israel. The indebtedness we have to them is immense. The scribes of Israel preserved the oral nature of the Torah. Now, when I'm talking about the oral nature of the Torah, I'm not talking about two Torahs, an oral Torah and a written Torah. I'm not talking about that. The scribes of Israel preserved the oral nature of the Torah. Language is first oral. Later, it becomes written. The oral nature of the Torah is not meant to be associated with a separate body of literature such as the Mishnah or the Talmud. It refers to the spoken qualities of Torah articulation. Our next avenue of investigation would not be possible without the oral knowledge of the text. The extensive use of a makaf, a Hebrew punctuation mark, which is somewhat like an English hyphen. We wouldn't know they existed if it were not for those who preserve the oral nature of the Torah. Thanks to the faithful scribes of Israel, we have an oral roadmap laid before us which enables us to access the structure of the Torah. The makaf is a key element in the numerical structure. The oral roadmap is the numerical structure of the Torah. Be enlightened, learn what you can, keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Parallel creation motifs. Inside, first of Bereshit, the earth. Bereshit is the first book of the Torah, the foundation. The concept of the Creator working inside the first of the earth may be new to one's theology, but the context of the Torah speaks otherwise. The Creator was not working from the core of the sphere. He was creating within the environs of the earth. He created the firmament above, the dry land below, the vegetation, and all forms of life amid them. Inside the wilderness, Bamidbar. Bamidbar is the fourth book of the Torah, and it describes the actions of the Creator working within the first of the nations from inside the wilderness. The first of the nations is Israel. You can place yourself inside the wilderness environment. When the Creator began to create the first of the nations in His image, He did this in the environs of the wilderness of Sinai. His creative actions were all within or inside the environs of the wilderness. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. Oh, wow. The wilderness. Wow. This is the wilderness of Sinai. The 10 words from the mountaintop. Manna from the firmament. Quail from the air above. Water from a rock. Herbie, here for the purpose of review, are some of the high points of our research about the consonant Beit. Generally, the consonant Beit is associated with a house and may be derived from an Egyptian hieroglyph of a house. The Paleo-Hebrew characters suggest that Beit might be linked to a tent floor plan, a family, or inn. These suggestions differ from that of the creators, who is the author of the Torah. By means of a three-step process, we can move closer to the Creator's perspective. Step 1, the foundation. Find the first occurrence of Beit in the Torah. Beit means inside. Step 2, two aspects. Find the first word in the Torah which begins with Beit. Again, Beit means inside. There are two concrete aspects to the matter of creation, the heavens and the earth. Step 3, a divine encounter, involves three divine commands. 3 equals an encounter with the Creator. The consonant name Beit means inside, but it is translated in. Herbie here for the purpose of review are some of the high points of research about the consonant Beit. Step 1, foundation. The first occurrence of Beit in the Torah is in a word that means void or empty. The earth was void or empty before the Creator began working in the earth. The earth was void because it lacked the presence of the Creator. Step 2, two aspects. The image of God is within man and outside of everything else. Only man can perpetuate the image of the Creator on earth. The man who has the image of God inside is purposed to oversee those entities which do not have the image of God within them. Step 3, a divine encounter. Abram had a divine encounter with the Creator at Beit El. Why Veit and not Beit? There is no inside or outside in relation to the Creator. The academic view of BGDKPT consonants and the context of the Torahs reveal the opposing perspectives of man and the Creator. The early Hebrew text did not have vowel points. Herbie here for the purpose review are some of the high points of our research about the consonant Veit. We only know how to pronounce the Hebrew words because of the faithful transmission of those sounds by the scribes of ancient and modern Israel. The scribes of Israel preserved the oral nature of the Torah. The workings of the 6 days of creation can be compared with the creative workings in the wilderness and the creation of the nation in which resides the spirit, words, and light of the Creator. The wilderness provides us with inside realities concerning the creative methods of the Creator, which are related to concrete actions rather than abstract time connections. Herbie, we have covered a lot of important insights concerning the BGDKPT consonant Beit Veit. However, I'm not sure that you are wholly convinced of the importance of the meaning of the consonant Beit from the Creator's perspective. There are a few more things we need to investigate about Beit before we can move on to the word Reshit. Really, my brain is spinning. Be enlightened. Learn what you can. Keep moving toward the light of the Creator. A closing word of instruction to a man of understanding, a maskil, Jeremiah 9:22-23. Thus says the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, nor let the mighty man glory in his might, let not the rich man glory in his riches. But let him who glories glory in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who exercises loving kindness, justice, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, says the Lord. Amen. Baruch atah Hashem. Oh wow, the Torah is truly a luminous lamp upon our path of understanding. Before you leave, if you would like to see more videos related to the numerical structure of the Torah, please tell your friends and family about our YouTube channel, Torah 123, and our website, avipublications.com. Subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell. Most of all, share what you have learned. Please join us for our next journey down the path of understanding concerning the numerical structure of the Torah. Also, please visit avpublications.com and Torah 123 for more informative articles related to the numerical structure of the Torah. Shalom. Teaching timeless Torah truths that are innovative, informative, and imperative. Torah 123. Avi Publications. Shalom.